Good morning. This is Business AM. My name is Simba Elijah Charles Kiag. So welcome to that part of the show where we tell you the headlines that matter. Which headlines are you waking up to this morning? And in the studio, as always, as ready as ever, is Dr. Andrew Maubi. Welcome, sir. I know you have a bit of cold.
Thank you.
So now I have to tell you something that I saw on your social media some time back. It was on your WhatsApp status.
Okay.
That you went to China and you met one of the officials and you were asking them, when you look at the roads, right, that they had in China, because the same Chinese companies that come to Kenya to construct our roads, and you ask them, why are your roads different? I mean, are you not supposed to come in and give us the same standard of roads?
Yeah.
All right, because we spend a lot of money on the roads. And then he says something funny that made you think twice about our country. Is that, for us, it is the deal and the deal. What you get on paper is what you receive in real life.
True.
But for your country, there are so many underhands and all that. We come in, give you what you want, and go out. All right, that opens the discussion this morning. So let's move straight to the first headline. KRA employees free on 200 shillings bail ruling tomorrow. That is Tuesday. Now, the employees who have been locked since May 10th pleaded with the court to release them Friday on bail. They all claim that the charges against them are politically instigated. We're going to talk about that. And that since they have all been interdicted, they will not interfere with the case. The case still targets 48 more employees, and now the police say they need more time to complete their investigations before calling the cuffs on them. So the question I've been asking this morning is the Kenya Revenue Authority, despite efforts year in, year out to hit their collection targets, they keep on getting shortfalls. And I imagine that the main downfall is their employees, all right? Now we have 48 of them already in custody. Now, how does this big institution that the government relies on, boasting on digitized mechanisms and spending money to sort of find ways to crisscross the economy and get taxes, fall prey from its own employees? What do you think is headed there? Can we blame this purely on management?
My view, Bwana Kiage, is that these employees, I don't know why all of a sudden things are happening. And we are seeing guys being taken to court after, an alleged insider kind of investigation where interns were hired and they were put together with the rest of the employees. And so they were spying sort of on the other staff. I want to believe the many changes that have occurred in KRA, starting with the iTax, and then now a change of leadership, which again we've seen someone being recalled, Njiraini, being recalled to handle a crisis. In my view, it could be that this crisis was engineered, like the employees are rightly saying, that it may have been politically instigated so that he can be recalled and extend his term. But we have seen him have his term extended. But I do not know what new is going to bring on board, because in the past years we have acknowledged his work. But somebody who has proceeded on terminal leave being recalled, in my view, is something that we need to look into. That means that there is no proper sort of succession planning that is being carried out at KRA. And that is one thing that we need to look at. So if we are to really put blame on management, then we must also ensure that the authorities are in for it.
Yes.
Because you cannot only blame management and the staff that are being involved. So we need to really get to the root cause of this particular problem and deal with it wholesomely once and for all.
Yes.
Because we've always fallen short of targets.
Yes.
Probably it's high time that KRA needed to look, or needs to look at, the ways in which they manage the tax revenues and whether collection is really being done the way it's meant to be done. For example, in my view, they should look at or first concentrate on different sections of their revenue collection, like the LTOs, large taxpayers, right? And assign particular people to follow up and, make investments in their audit departments. And if they do not have enough capacity, they should then go ahead and hire independent audit firms to ensure that the revenues being declared are really what is meant to be declared at KRA.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Now, in your own view, as we
Yeah.
cross over to the next headline, the Kenyans are sort of waiting to see exactly what transpires out of it. What is the biggest challenge to KRA, and what is the incoming boss who's been there? What should be his biggest mandate, sort of get things straight at KRA?
In my view, the biggest challenge for this new boss who's meant to come in, whether lady or gentleman,
Yes.
they should ensure that all staff, in my view, if we are alleging that corruption is taking place, then we need to look at probably their salary scale, you know, motivation.
Yes.
What motivates these people? Because there have been reports that we have staff at KRA who would not want to even grow, rather even have, you know, promotions at their workplace, because they know when you're in the field, you can easily collect understudy deals. So we need to tackle that head on
Yes.
without really bashing blame on anyone and ensuring that we sort of, in a slow but sure way, get to the bottom of it and end this problem once and for all.
Once and for all.
Yeah.
That makes or takes us to the next. So I'm trying to figure this screen. But producer, I think I forgot how to touch on it. Okay, let's cross over to the next one. Is Haji denies Raila and Matiang'i links in the fake gold scandal. Now, this is a headline also that has really gotten into the eyes of the public. Now, Haji comes in and says, look, don't link Matiang'i and Raila into this. Now, some sections of the Kenyans are saying, look, why is he saying this about the two? In your own reading, is fake gold saga yet another political potato? All right? And given that the Bungoma senator, Moses Wetangula, is already implicated in the dealings, would you sort of say that this is just for Wetangula or it's for Kenya?
This particular problem, I think, is far-rooted in my view, because when you look at the entire issue, you know, technology, anybody can come up and say Wetangula is innocent. Yes, we've heard his voice in a clip that allegedly circulates on social media.
Yes.
But in the current situation where we have improved technology, it could be, you know, a voice put on or changed to fit Wetangula. But that said, it was, in my view, careless of one Nordin Haji to indicate that, you know, the Kenyan should desist from mentioning names.
Yes.
What he should have come out and said is that the citizens should volunteer information to the investigating authority, other than castigating anyone,
Yes.
without throwing stones at anyone. Because what it looks like from the eyes of Kenyans is that it could have been informed or briefed about what is happening, and so he's been told to act tough. And that is not really what we want when investigations are underway. Yeah, that is my view.
All right, now the next question that most Kenyans are asking therefore is that Kenya is always on the road looking for euro bonds and looking for business relations. We are growing economy. What does this therefore mean for the relations between United Arabs and Kenya? And what is it going to mean for the economy therefore of Kenya when it comes to these two relations? Are we going to be affected?
I don't think we'll be affected because these are individuals involved. This is not like the entirety of the government being involved.
Yes.
These are just individuals that make up a very small percentage of, you know, Kenya as a whole. So we
Yes.
cannot really suffer, because when you have severed relations with other countries, then it means our business opportunities, our people are out there. You know, like you've seen this Bwana Simba in social media. Fake clips, I do not know how true they are, or
Yes.
fake statements that, you know, the UAE has warned, has given Kenyans notice
Yes.
to quit and even recalled
Yes.
their ambassador in Kenya. I do not know how true that is. That to me still remains as rumors.
Yes.
But if that be the case,
Yes.
then even the country itself, UAE as it were, they should reconsider such decisions, because individuals cannot affect the entire country.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we're just speaking on rumors of this, these are unconfirmed statements.
Yeah.
Doesn't that therefore sort of paint the scale of this issue? Yes, it's individuals, but this happened in Kenya, yes?
Yeah.
This sort of saga happened in Kenya.
Yeah.
And so doesn't this sort of grow on a larger scale? Somebody might look at it like, well, yes, it happened in Kenya, but look at the scale of this event now. Because that's exactly what goes into diplomatic relations of other nations, doesn't it?
I would call it on the Ministry of Foreign Affairs
Yes.
and the investigating authorities to hasten the steps in investigating into this matter, so that it's brought to rest. Because when we have a bad image being painted about Kenya, then as Kenyans we suffer. Because you can even fly to America or wherever, and you're being seen as the fake gold dealer.
Fake gold
everybody
dealer.
can
It's
start
true.
viewing Kenya or any Kenyan as a fake gold dealer,
Yes.
which is not a good thing for us. So we should really act with speed and really air everything that comes out of or that is unearthed from these particular investigations.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, this is another issue also that is existing in the Kenyan economy. Now, mobile lenders, they've been on the spot for using unprecedented, some are saying cruel, some of the unagreed to measures to reclaim the money that the mobile lenders or the people who got the money from them owe them. Some are saying they go to the extent of calling some of your contacts and texting them to tell you to pay the money that you owe them.
Yeah.
Now, question that people are asking is this: is it time for us to sort of think as a nation? It's time for us to treat all these lenders as banks so that they are regulated by the Central Bank of Kenya, owing to the high interest rates that they charge when they give Kenyans these loans.
Simba, I will take on this issue from a different footage. We've said this here before and in other areas that we erred, and we are trying to cover this particular error we did commit by us capping the interest rates for banks. We erred. That we must always agree. And actually, the Treasury, in the past we have had a discussion here where we say that the Treasury has offered, there are negotiations going on, there are offers that banks should be guaranteed by Treasury so that they can be able to lend to small and medium enterprises.
Yes.
Because currently, as it were, loans are not going down to small borrowers or small-scale borrowers, be it businesses or individuals, simply because it is attractive and more attractive and risk-free to lend even to government because of the rates that exist currently, as opposed to lending to individuals. What options do Kenyans, remain with? They remain with the option of getting any sort of money, however expensive it can be. Now, back to your question. We need to look at how, and this is the work of Parliament, they need to make proposals on how we can easily probably regulate these people, but now not regulate their interest rates, because that is where we get it wrong. However much they may be expensive, these are individuals. If you want my money today, and I have it, I can give it to you to sort out your problems. I have the discretion of how much I can charge you.
Yes.
I do not know to what extent we will achieve success, but we need to go to the root cause, which I already mentioned, about how the interest rates for banks were regulated.
Yes.
If we have the banks getting free to lend to individuals and small business enterprises, then we'll get there. That is my view.
Yes.
Yes.
But is it not alarming to you, sir, that currently we have more than 80 platforms that are lending to Kenyans, and that the number as from 2018 stands at more than 6 million Kenyans between the age of 26 to 35 who are on these platforms? Is it not a statistic that the government would look at and say, maybe we need to rethink? And another question that is attached to that is it therefore okay for these lenders to get access to your contacts? What sort of privacy do they pass when they do that?
For me, I think that is careless. Rather, it's unbecoming of these particular lenders to do that. Because, one, I have been a beneficiary of such lenders, by the way, before. But how do you, because you do not put your contacts as, guarantors. Why would they call your contacts? I think even these people can be sued if they are accessible. Remember, they are virtual, most of them.
Yes.
So they need to be, taught lessons, because you cannot interfere to people's privacy.
Yes.
If you've decided to give unregulated credit, then bear the consequences. Because I know most Kenyans have, gone out there and borrowed and still blocked, given SIM cards and took new ones, but we encourage Kenyans to rather tread carefully.
Yes.
Because these are very expensive products. Sometimes some of these people charge as high as 30%
30%
per month, and actually higher. There are people who charge a shilling for a shilling.
Yes.
You take 100,000, you return 100,000. That is really exorbitant, and Kenyans should really resist.
Get into that. That makes us cross over
Yeah.
under technology. Now, here's the thing, good news. Now, Kenya took a 210 euro bond that was very successful the other day.
Yeah.
Now, there are news that now some Finnish companies and some European companies are coming into the country with a 275 billion investment in Kenya to sort of shift the economy from fuel to electric. On a first-line basis, I know you're well-traveled. You've seen what other economies are doing when it comes to electric cars.
Yeah.
Will Kenya really hit the numbers when it comes to electric cars? Are we ready for it?
Of course, the usual thing is the desist. People would tend to desist to change or resist change. That is one of the things. And then we should ask ourselves, do we have the prerequisite regulations or laws that would help regulate this particular, entrant to the market? Those are the questions that we need to ask ourselves, because elsewhere, these particular regulations are there. So Kenyans should first formulate the policies that are required, because there are many things that come with any new inventions. So that if we are ready for it, then we can go for it, because we all know that electricity is much cheaper than the fuel itself. Yes.
All right. Now, the other question is, what steps should Kenya therefore take to make sure that this shift is a success? Because this company is coming into the country is good news for the economy.
Yes.
Because of creation of jobs and all that.
Yeah.
What steps should Kenya therefore make to make sure that this shift is a success?
The Committee for Energy, in my view, should take it up and come up with the prerequisite laws that will be discussed in Parliament. And probably even MPs should come up with the laws, the bills that should be sponsored, so that we're able to regulate the industry. Because if there's no regulation, and we're saying that investors are already, showing interest, then we'll be caught unaware.
Yes.
And that will not be very good for the economy, much as it's a good and a welcome move.
Okay.
Yes.
Next item that Kenyans are waking up to this morning. Yes, now a bag of unga is bound to come down again. But the question that keeps on hitting Kenyans' headlines every single time, why does the government wait, oftentimes, time in, time out, for Kenyans to sort of go through months of when this commodity is being sold at expensive prices, and the fights between government and millers before the government says, oh, finally it's time now for us to release our subsidized maize into the economy. What is this that Kenyans don't understanding? Why does the government usually wait up to the tail end?
As it were, in the cases of disasters, Bwana Simba, is that Kenyans are known for not getting prepared. Because as a government, we should invest in even surveys and research. And research is the backbone of anything that we are meant to do. Because you cannot just wake up and say, oh, we think there's a crisis, let's just manage it. Because you'll be not acting proactively, rather reactively. So the government should always act proactively. And that should be seen to happen. And there's no amount of intimidation the government can carry out on Kenyans, so that we do not hold them spot on or take them on.
Yes.
We should always insist that the government must be proactive in everything that they do. So it's a failure on their part when you wait for the prices to go or to rise, and then you react by saying, now we have the... And you see, the millers have been saying that this maize is not available.
Yes.
So where has it come from? Of course, for a miller, they would want to paint that picture because they want to continue to reap on Kenyans.
Yes.
Because they're in business. And they think, by holding their prices high, then of course they will recover their production costs, and as such, end up making profit or maintain their profit, as opposed to, reducing haphazardly the prices. Yeah.
All right, now last item that Kenyans are waking up to this morning. 25 billion has been allocated by Rotich to the construction of dams, even before the dust settles on the dams saga in this country. From an economic perspective, should have we waited to take the culprits into court, settle these cases, before we now say, good, from now onwards, we have known how to handle this cash, other than give our money for dams again?
My view, Simba, is that I think Treasury erred in a way,
Yes.
but corruption, as it were, should not stall our development record. Rather, even what the government wants to achieve. So we should not derail. So by allocating, there is a small error, but welcome. Let me explain. What Rotich, the CS, should have done is come out in public and say, out of the investigations that have been going on, this is where we are.
Yes.
And we think it's in order for us to allocate additional money. But the Kenyans must always be told what happened to the Kimwarer and Aror dams.
Yes.
What happens to the money? What happened? So if he explains well, then the Kenyans will own. And this takes us to how we involve Kenyans in the progress of, even their development projects. We should always update them on what is happening. You cannot just allocate, because everyone looking at that is saying that this money is again going to be misappropriated.
Yes.
Is that what we want to do continuously? Definitely no. So it should really come up and update the Kenyans before this money is even expensed.
Allocated. Question after question.
Yeah.
This is what is going to happen. You Kenyans feel that we're being fought. Huduma number, you get it unless. Housing levy, you take it unless. Taxes, you take it unless. Fuel, you take it unless. So this is what we have for you before we close the week. Dr. Maubi returns to talk about how should the government approach communications on key issues affecting the weight of the money in your pocket. I can't wait. You should also wait for this. Business takes a short break. Once we come back, what else should you know in the economy? Let's take that break right now.